I thought I'd shoot a video on the crummy audio quality, and I wanted to see, it sounded like the audio was getting clipped at the top of the waveform. And you can see that as I'm talking we're getting probably 0.4 volts peak to peak waveform out of there. The specs for my camcorder's input say 0.388 millivolts. So a millivolt is 1,000th of a volt, and it wants a third of a 1,000th of a volt. And we're putting out about 0.4 volts, which is 400 millivolts. So it's no wonder that we're overloading that mic input and getting some distortion there. Now the other thing it says on this spec sheet is that the impedance is 6.8 kiloohms. If we take a look at the data sheet for this cheapy microphone, you can see the output impedance on this one is actually 600 ohms. So we're going to need to make a few modifications to this to get the audio levels right to match the camcorder. I'm going to add in a series resistor there, a 6.2k series resistor, and then make that into a potential divider down to ground to get the voltage level to the right amount, but I haven't worked that out yet, so I'll tell you that bit when I've worked it out. Put in a 6.2k resistor there in series with the output, which was already at 600 ohms, to make it 6.8k to match the input on my camcorder, and I've got that in series with a 6.8 ohm resistor. Okay, so we've gone for slightly different now. We've got a 6.2k resistor in series with the output, and then we've got a 680 ohm resistor making a potential divider with that, which by my reckoning should be a 10:1 divide. I've got the microphone volume cranked up to maximum at the moment, and watching the VU meters we're getting very close to maxed out on them. This is experimental electronics. I tried working it out and the sound came out really quiet, so I've just been experimenting, putting different values in until I get an audio level that sounds reasonable. Okay folks, I'm pretty happy with this now, so I'll just do once more a rundown. This is the receiver unit of the Bolun WR-601, and in order to match the impedance to my camcorder's microphone input, I've put a 6.2k resistor in series with the output, which takes it, the output is normally 600 ohms, so that takes it up to 6.8 ohms, and I've put a 68k resistor as a potential divider with that, which just seems to help. We seem to get lots more distortion without it, so I'm going to tidy that up now and find a way of cramming it back in its box. And also I've changed from the 6.5mm jack plug to a 3.5mm jack cable that I've snipped up, but it's plugged into the camcorder at the moment, so I can't show you it right now. So back on the camera's own microphone now. So I've bodged in those two resistors in a reasonably tidy sort of fashion. You have to be careful here because there's a screw hole right there and a plastic pellet that goes in it, and there's a plate at the back of the battery contacts as well that hopefully I've left room for, that'll slot in between the metal plate and those resistors, so quite a tight squeeze in there, but I'm going to see if I can get the screws back in it now. So before I plug it back in and give it a final test, while it's all in pieces, I can show you. So yeah, I ripped the jack plug off there and I've replaced it with 3.5mm jack plug, which was just a cable that I had kicking around that I cut the end off. So that's now got a stereo output on it which matches the camera's input, even though it's only a mono mic. At least it comes in on both channels. And then I also made a small modification on this unit because it was pissing me off something chronic. You'll notice I've drilled a hole in the back of that clip, and that's so I can get to the screw underneath, because this belt clip kept falling off all the time and it just slots into the plastic there. So what I did was I took the back off and I used my hot melt glue gun and just clipped that into place, and then filled the sliders so that piece could no longer slide out. But then of course, in order to be able to put the screw back in to hold everything together, I had to drill a hole through the belt clip, but I haven't weakened it. Well, it hasn't broken yet, and not that I've had this for more than a few days. It hasn't weakened it too badly, I don't think. Seems to do the job, and it means that the thing doesn't keep falling to pieces, which is a huge plus. So now I've made my modifications to it, let's give it a test.
So here we are all plugged back together again. I bet that gets terrible interference. So we're all plugged back together again. We've got all our screws back in. The audio level is hopefully not too over the top. I can turn it down a bit here. Yeah, hopefully this is, well, I'm pretty sure, having done a few tests, that this is much better, much improved over what it was. With the modifications of changing that to a 3.5mm jack plug, increasing the output impedance of that, sorting out the output levels so they're actually microphone levels, fixing the belt clip, and generally just making it a bit less crap. I figure this is a £5 well spent, a £5 plus a few hours of mucking about, which I've quite enjoyed.